Thank you. My name is Patricia Mulhall. I'm a Brigidian sister. I live in England, and the politics of fear worked with Brexit also. Thank you for your very powerful message, Alaistair. I was struck by what you said right at the beginning, that we have to learn the meaning and the power of non-violence. And by doing that, we have to have a deep commitment to the part of us that can never be killed, meaning the soul. I recently returned from India, and I was at the tip of the continent where Gandhi's ashes have been scattered in the three waters. But my question is, in terms of the politics of fear, we have it in our church as well. Last night I visited the Carmelite church, where it was absolutely packed here for divine mercy. And the whole narrative there was about atonement and mercy for sin and the blood of Jesus and atoning for the sins of the world. How do we change that narrative? How do we're worshipping it, we're hearing it Sunday after Sunday, we have it preached to us, and we seldom hear Mary, the powerful woman, the political figure who pulled down the mighty from their thrones.
I've just asked our chair if I could take that on its own, because it's such an important question. It's so central to what I was doing in that Portuguese pilgrimage walk across the island, reflecting on blood atonement theology. Now basically, the central text that drives, if somebody's interested in Christianity and they say, what's it all about? I went into a church and I saw a cross. What is that all about? What are you going to tell them? Because I tell you, most theologians that I ask that question of do not have a quick answer, which is a problem if you're trying to show people there's something in the faith. Now, what is at the core of that in the Christian tradition is a passage in Mark's Gospel, it's in Matthew also, and a very interesting version of it in Paul's teachings, which were written even earlier, where Jesus says, I came to give my life, or the Son of Man came to give his life, a ransom for many, or in Paul's earlier version, a ransom for all. And so the key question that comes out of that is that if the cross is paying a ransom price, who is the ransom of souls? In the Orthodox tradition, and for the first millennium of Christianity, the main answer was Christus Victor, that Christ was the ransomer of souls. I'm sorry, beg your pardon. The devil was the ransomer of souls. The devil was the ransomer of souls. And on the third day, or whenever it was, Christ descended into hell. He descended into hell, as the creed has it, and freed the souls from hell. Now, come the Norman conquest of England in 1066, William the Conqueror's son put into Canterbury St. Anselm, as he became, as Archbishop. Anselm was a brilliant theologian, and he said, wait a minute, this gives too much power to the devil. Indeed, St. Gregory the Great likened it that the devil was like a great sea fish, a great sea monster, where he'd chomp, 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 and each time a soul would fall into hell, chomp, another tasty morsel. And that God baited the hook with Christ and lowered it down to hell, and the devil goes chomp, and now he's hooked on the steel of God. The devil is held in constraint. That was how Gregory saw it. The problem is, as I put it in Portuguese pilgrimage, that turns God into the great cosmic poacher. Or as Anselm spelled it out, it gives the devil too much power, and it suggests that God had to resort to deception. Therefore Anselm said, if it's not going to be the devil who's the ransom of souls, who else can it be? There's only one other candidate in town, folks. It must be yours faithfully upstairs. God. God is the ransom of souls. And Anselm's his feudal mindset said, it's like this. God is the great feudal superior. Feudal power is held in place by fealty, by loyalty, from the people to the feudal lord. Human sin, Adam's sin and our own particular sins, dishonour God's honour. Therefore, to hold the cosmic order together, God must be satisfied, and that's why Christ had to die on the cross. John Calvin came along in the 16th century with his lawyer's mind, and he ramped that up into penal substitutionary atonement, PSA theory. That Christ, as Calvin put it, that Calvin says in the Institutes of the Christian Religion, Book 2, Chapter 16, that God is armed for vengeance at human sin, but he sent Christ to stand in the dock on our behalf and take the punishment for sin. Problem with that, great cosmic child abuser. Yeah, bit of a problem in Ireland, isn't it? That's a problem with that one. And the whole dynamic of the vengeance of God, the need for blood sacrifice. Well, I was pondering this one over, and I spoke to my Huguenot mother-in-law in France, who herself is a noted Protestant theologian in the Reformed Church in France. And I said to Joelle, I said, how do you take this one? She went to the bookshelf, she pulled off a little book by a French Catholic priest called Abbé Pierre. You know him. And the book was called Mon Dieu Pourquoi. It's not translated, as far as I know, it's not translated into English. That means why God. And she showed me this passage. And it spoke very strongly to the work I'm involved with poverty in Govan in Glasgow, where a lot of our folks suffer from addictions and various mental health issues. Abbé Pierre said, all his life as a priest, he had wrestled with this ransom passage in Mark. But working amongst drug addicts taught him that we are the ransomer of souls unto ourselves, because the drug addict is both ransomed and ransomed by themselves. The word that is translated in the Greek as a ransom is lutron, which means to loosen the bonds. That's the Greek that's being translated as ransom. And so my late friend Walter Wink, he says we have to rethink this ransom passage as being about liberation. I came to give my life a liberation for many. Liberation from the bonds of sin, for which I now substitute the words violence, because it's the same thing. Liberation from the bonds of violence that hold us all. And that need to move to a non-violent theory of the atonement. That Christ is a means by which we are transformed from within, to liberate us from within. That is the meaning of the cross. That accepting of violence on the cross, rather than retaliating with more violence, as he said to Pilate, if my kingdom was of this world, my followers would take up arms and come to save me. But my kingdom is not of this world. And he accepted the cross instead of taking up arms. Why? Because thy kingdom come, God's kingdom of love and justice come on earth as it is in heaven. That is what Brigid, that is why this centre is so important. When I first came here in 1993 and visited the sisters in their council house, that spark stayed with me and it grew. That is why that insight of the importance of the divine feminine and of repudiating violence she did is such an important fire to spread in the world. I come to bring fire to the earth and wish it were already kindled. The fire of love that only burns off that which is not authentically ourselves.
Unfortunately, we have to wrap up this session at this point. So once again, can I ask you to join with me in thanking